students, welcome to EduSkills OET Made Easy.
Yeah, very good morning.
Good morning,
My name
Father.
is Sound.
Soumya Mohan, right?
Yes, Father. And what about today class? What is it, sir?
It's about speaking, role play, how to handle the role play card, how to use the 3 minutes, how to handle challenging patients, arrogant patients,
Okay.
and what are the
thank you.
structure, how to sequence the task. Visible and audible, right?
Yes, Father.
Yes. Today, majority, like those who are into the exams immediately, you can have more time, even for the Q&A. We share the screen. Today, we'll be looking into mainly like speaking subtest overview, role play structure, and organizing your explanations or your role play, and the task response pattern, and handling the challenging patients. So that will be the structure we have. Let me know whether you can see my screen.
Yes, Father.
This one just for a glance. You have seen it. I've dealt with in the previous class, hope the interlocutor is the interviewer. Now assessor over there. Duration of the speaking text, approximately 20 minutes in total. Procedure, you have warm-up, which is not assessed, warm-up questions. 2 role plays, assessed, preparation time 3 minutes. How many role plays? 2, duration of each role play 5 minutes. And role play, today we'll be dealing with the role play. If you have any doubts, as usual, you can just keep a piece of paper with you, write down the name, slide, title, or something like that. We'll get back to that and explain to you again. And anytime you can raise your hand or unmute yourself and let me know if you have any concerns which you don't understand. So role play has got its structure, as I told you, starting the interview, taking patient history, explaining a medical condition or procedure, and providing reassurance and education, and concluding. This is the structure. Yeah, this is the structure that you have to follow. 5 steps you must be there, and it's only 5 minutes, and it's not a long period. Like you have hardly 1 minute for each step. Okay, patient card, as you know, this card which I have taken, they have spoken about it. We'll also see how we have to analyze the patient card. So this is a patient card. Normally you are given, and some of you are practicing. I see even in the platform you share some of those old materials, pre-pandemic materials or pre-2018 materials, which you will find has less information given. The card is even smaller and lesser task explanations are given. So better to depend upon the updated material. The condition, disease or medical condition will be given and the host setting will be mentioned. Okay, that is very important. Then you have to see what is the task. Usually 3 to 4 tasks will be given. That's very important. You have to identify the task. So what is the task? See here, this is the way they give you the task. Do not really know anything about shocks or what causes them. That's how the patient card says. You will not be given the patient card, but always it's better to compare the patient card with the nurse card, your card, and compare and study. I'll give you how to compare it. So this is a concern. The patient is asked to tell the nurse, you do not really know anything about strokes or what causes them. Express your surprise at finding out you had a stroke. Show anxiety, like death, people dying of shock and all this. Other measures and medications. Ask about methods and medications and monitoring those details. So this is the patient card. And coming to the nurse card, this is the nurse card is setting a hospital. This is the card you will be getting. And you have a lot of details in the updated version of OET 2.0. You have a lot of details given in the task card itself. And if you know how to scan and analyze the task card, that itself is the greatest guide where you can organize your speaking. See how to do that. What are the highlights you have? When you scan a particular nurse card or your role play card, you should be very clear about the setting where it is. Then you should know who is the patient. Okay, 63-year-old truck driver. That's very important. What is the condition, disease condition? This is a clear way to scan a role play card. What is the disease or what is the medical condition? What is the stage of medication or hospitalization? Due to go home today means almost discharge phase. So you should know what is the phase of the hospitalization or medication or the treatment. He is to be treated long term. So it speaks also about follow-up or monitoring, later monitoring. So these are the steps, sequences that you can identify here. In every role play card, you'll find these things. And task is very clear. Ask what they know about strokes. Explain what causes strokes and what the medication is for, prevention and treatment. Reassure current condition is stable, emphasize doctor's orders and all those details. So reassure them with all those details. What you know about the about the patient. Advise the patient of preventive measures. So these are the tasks. You have to ask what they know about it, explain, reassure, and advise. These are the 4 tasks given, and you have only 5 minutes. You have to address 4 tasks here. So 1 minute per task. It's a very short period where you can simply just cross it with ease, provided you know how to structure your role play card. And coming to nurse card, see, I have scanned it, put it in short. Patient details. The nurse card, your role play card will give you the patient details. As I told you, 63-year-old truck driver. That's important. And the medical condition stock, due to go home today, getting discharged, to be treated long, required to have regular blood tests, monitoring part. If you see from the very beginning, I'm telling you from the first session about reading part A, where you have to first know the sequence or the structure of any subtest that you have. Even here, even if it is a role play card, you can think of it's like an article or an essay. So here you have about the patient details, things and all discharge, then you have the follow-up, then you have monitoring. All those steps are clear here. And now ask what he knows about strokes, explain causes, medication, prevention, treatment. See the steps, what you have to explain. It is clearly given there in the role play card. You have nothing just to build up some sentences basing on their response. And reassure current condition is stable. Emphasize doctor's orders to have regular blood tests, monitored prevention, all those things, monitoring and prevention, and advise preventive measures, losing weight. What some advices, okay? So everything is given in the role play card. You have clear picture, structure, and sequence and organization given in the card, where even you are allowed to write. And let's say starting the interview. Who starts the interview?
Nurse.
Start the conversation saying, greeting. My name is Hannah. Good afternoon. And all those things. I'm a registered nurse. I'll be looking after you this today or this afternoon or whatever, this morning. How are you feeling now? That's clear, I believe. And hello, or else another option could be, hello, Mr. Smith. Good afternoon. I am a registered nurse. I will be looking after you today. Your diagnosis is stroke. Now you are stable, and today you will go home. I thought it might be a good idea to talk about your discharge arrangement. Now, just let's have a comparison between. This is how you have to practice when you take up your practice. Yeah. Compare between the nurse card and the patient card. As I told you, here there is 63-year-old truck driver, patient details. Now, in the very beginning of it, you are identifying, telling, who are you? Nurse card says, no, this is your response. This is the role play card. Role play card, you are scanned, STEM says, the details of the patient. Here you have to say, who are you? Then the condition is mentioned over there. What I'm telling you, the nurse card and your response, everything goes step by step. Once you know the sequence and the structure, it's so easy to handle. See, first, your role play card says the details of the patient. You have to say, who are you? Second, about the condition, you have to speak about the condition to the patient. Third, the phase of the medication now or hospitalization due to go home today. Now you are stable and today you will go home. The same thing is being told to the patient by the nurse or the health professional. Then to be treated long, all those things. Then required to have regular blood tests. I thought it might be a good idea to talk about your discharge arrangements. These 2 things are about discharge arrangements. So there's a clear idea given in the card. See, now patient details given in the role play card and your response. Who is the patient? 63-year-old truck driver. Okay, as soon as you get the role card in your hand, first you have to know what is the setting and what is the condition, if medical condition, if it is given there. Then next thing you have to see who is the patient. 63-year-old truck driver. Then in your response, parallel to that, you are supposed to say, who are you? You are saying, hello, Mr. Smith or somebody, good afternoon. I am a registered nurse. I'll be looking after you this afternoon or this day or today or this morning, whatever you want. And what is the complaint? Next thing you have to, when you scan your role play card, you have to see what is the complaint or what is the medical condition. Here it is stroke. And what is your response? See how beautifully it is organized, so how you can handle it. So what is the response? What is the diagnosis? So here, what is a medical condition? What is the diagnosis? You have to say What is the diagnosis? So you say your diagnosis is stroke. And next stage, hospitalization or the phase of hospitalization. Do you to go home today? That's the information given in the role play card. What is your response to the patient? Inform the status of the patient. That is, now you are stable and today you will go home. See, discharge plan. Next is discharge plan. To be treated long, required to have regular blood tests. That's what is given in the role play card. And what's your response? Why are you here? You have to tell the patient, why are you here? I thought it might be a good idea to talk about your discharge arrangements. You are informing the patient of your obligation or of your duty or your purpose of meeting him or her. Is that clear? So beautifully, you can arrange role play card and a response. Every part of it as a counter from your response. So there is nothing to be confused. Having the role play card in your hand, having scanned it, you can easily go through the whole process. So you know this, initiating the conversation. Hello, Ms. Smith, good afternoon. I am a registered nurse. I will be looking after you this afternoon. So that's the same thing. And you can also say this way, initiating the interaction conversation, you can say, I am a registered nurse who will be looking after your daughter or this afternoon. How are you feeling now? You are speaking to the carer. I can see you are worried about your daughter. I'm so sorry about her. Could somebody read this?
I can see you are worried about your daughter. I'm so sorry about her. I know it is hard for you to take. You must be scared and confused, but don't worry. There are a wide range of treatment options available. Science is making amazing progress in this area. There are new drugs and new theories. She is in hospital. She is in good hands. Her doctor is an experienced specialist. There are professional nursing staff that are looking after her. We will support her and care for her in the best possible way. We will try our best to take good care of her and make her feel comfortable.
Yeah, if you have attended my previous session, could you just tell me, could you tell me what is the skill being used here? What is the nurse intending to impart?
Reassurance.
Reassurance, exactly. Every sentence in this paragraph shows reassurance, right? Later, you can just look into the slide, take the screenshot and yeah. And you can see every sentence is reassurance melted or smeared with sympathy or empathy. This is what called task. The other one is sympathy is your skill. This is the task given. Reassurance will be the task given in the role play card. So I think you are okay with the whole introduction part, I believe, starting the conversation. Now you are going to take the history. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about your past medical history? Then you get the permission. Then you will be asking, yes, I can see how stopping and taking the medication so suddenly might be a bit scary, all those things you can say. No? When you want to know the history of the taking the patient history, these are the conversations which you can use if need be. I understand that you might not want to stop taking your medication. I can understand that, all those things. That's the common conversations, but I just want to give you the structure. What do you think might be causing your dizziness? So here, when you take the patient history, first, don't start with the closed questions, but start with open-ended questions, where you give the full freedom to the patient so that they can come out. So information gathering, your great task is information gathering. So allow freedom to express to the patient. And don't start with leading questions or closed-ended questions. In the sense, see, you seem a little uncomfortable about reducing your medication. Is that right? This is closed-ended question because the patient has to say either yes or no. There is no other option, no freedom. So begin with open-ended questions. There's a criteria and that will be assessed. Certainly something we can do about your dizziness, that shouldn't be a problem. Again, reassurance. Explaining a medical condition or procedure. So first you start the interaction. Second thing is you have to take the patient history by asking an open-ended question in the beginning. Later, to clarify or emphasize or ascertaining the information, you can ask closed-ended questions. But in the patient history part, you start with open-ended questions. And third part is explaining a medical condition or procedure. If someone has not attended my previous session, you might find a bit challenge somewhere. Don't worry, because I'll be presuming that you have attended my sessions. See, what do you know about strokes? That's an open-ended question. I am surprised at finding out me having a stroke. I know little about it and what causes it. I know little about it. What is the meaning?
She doesn't know anything.
She doesn't know anything. Means little means nothing. Or little means something. When there is little water in the well means there is no water in the well at all. It is dry. If you say there is a little water, add the article there, then it becomes there is some water. There are few students in the classroom, means there are no students. There are a few students in the classroom, means there are some students. So when I say, if you don't know the meaning of this little, I know little about it and what causes it. If you understand it as something, don't worry, these are the common mistakes everybody makes. If you understand it as something, next your question will be, could you tell me what you know about it? Next question will be, could you tell me what you know about it? Because you understood as patient saying, I know something about strokes or this disease or condition. But the patient said, sorry, I don't know anything about it. I know little about it. You cannot ask, tell me what you know about it. So you have to ask, no worries, let me explain this disease for you. See the difference? So if you don't understand, that can be assessed very well, and that can give you that can hurt your score. Immediately the response should be, that's why it's just speaking, it's not just speaking, but even listening. Your listening will be very important in your whole thing. So what you have to do, you have to listen carefully and respond. So I said there can be a day and night difference when you understand I know little as something and nothing. So if you understand it as something, immediately what you will ask, you have to ask. If the patient says, I know a little bit about it or something about it, a little about it, then you have to, next question should be, could you just tell me what are things you know about the condition? Since he said, I know little about it, I know nothing about it, the nurse says, no worries, let me explain this disease for you. And stroke is the condition now, and you have to structure the whole sequence. Let's see how beautifully it can be done. This part is very important. You have to define or describe the condition first. Define or describe. And definition, if you remember, I clearly told you there should be a question definition. There should be verb, class, connective word, and the characteristics or features. Definition, already you know what is definition. Second step is symptoms. You have to, once you define or describe the medical condition, what is stroke, then you have to speak about the symptoms. Then you have to speak about the risk factors. See how beautifully it can be done. Then you have to speak about the medications being carried out and what will be the medications in the future after discharge. And give some example of the medication. If a particular thing is prescribed, tell them what is it. Monitoring, how it will be monitored, what is to be done in the future after the medication and all this. If there is some follow-up, all those things can be said. So these are the beautiful steps you have to speak. And your main aim is to speak as much as possible. They are assessing your speaking, not of the interlocutor. Try to make use of the maximum possible chances to speak the maximum. So here you have a beautiful way how we can explain. When you have to explain information giving and educating the patient, you take up this structure. And even previously, I have given you a common structure for all the conditions. Take note of that as well. Here, this is particularly, I am applying to a particular car, but I have given you now in my previous session a particular beautiful structure for all the conditions which you can apply, a general structure. Okay, this structure sequencing is very, very important, and that will give you a good idea, and that will ease your fluency. At the same time, it will improve your confidence, and also it will definitely boost your score. And seventh one is prevention, monitoring, then prevention. So you have the definition, symptoms, risk factors, medication, example, monitoring, prevention. So you can go through these steps. Next step. Now, first one is definition. See, stroke is a medical emergency that occurs when blood supply to a part of the brain is interrupted or reduced. Or you can describe it in simpler words. Stroke is a clot that blocks a blood vessel in the brain. That is the definition or description given. In simple layman's words or in simple language, you have to explain. You know, in the speaking, you cannot use hi-fi jargons and your medical knowledge. You have to speak in layman's language so that the common man understands it. So once you describe or define the condition, medical condition, you get into the symptoms. See here, you cannot speak about the clear symptoms because people with a stroke have different symptoms according to the position of the clot in the brain. So you cannot specifically mention the symptoms. Other conditions definitely will be able to give 1, 2, 3, 4 symptoms. And risk factors, there are many risk factors that can cause a stroke, such as hypertension, diabetes, obesity, smoking, drinking, and unhealthy diet, lack of exercise as well. Higher levels of blood fats make blood move easily to clot and form clots. So risk factors are given. Then medications. You have to speak about medication and example I have given together. Many effective medications are available to prevent thrombosis. For example, warfarin. If your situation is stable with warfarin, you need to take it for a long term. So we are speaking about medication and we're giving an example, a particular tablet or medication. So that's the way you can do it. Next one is monitoring. So you can say monitoring and prevention can be spoken together. You can combine it and speak together. The doctor has ordered regular blood tests. That's the monitoring, for you, which will make sure that you are monitored closely to prevent another stroke. Now the problem is here. When you speak about anything, I told you from the very beginning, from the very first session, I have identified and pointed out this structure and sequencing and everything. This is the most important aspect that will make your thing very easy. You're speaking or writing or reading or anything. There is a sequence for everything. I told you in the part A, when I spoke about reading part A, about diabetes, I told you the definition, description, then assessment, then like medication, monitoring, all those steps. And it goes everywhere. Even in this particular thing, when you speak about explain or educate the patient, you have to follow these steps. And that gives you clarity. At the same time, that will enhance your confidence and will definitely get a better score. Hope things are clear for you. I'll be a little fast, but I'll be coming back because for some discussions, especially for the exam, those exam going candidates will have some discussions, don't worry. Do you know about strokes? Okay, I am surprised at finding out may have a stroke. I know a little about it and what causes it. That is the same thing. I'm showing you the whole text which I put into 7 steps here. So no worries, let me explain. This question is explained this way. Symptoms here, the definition here, description, or I have put in bracket description, symptoms here, risk factors here, medications here, example here, monitoring here, prevention here. So beautifully the paragraph has a structure. If you keep that structure in your mind, it becomes so easy that enhances your fluency as well. Cool. Now sequencing the interview. You have to sequence it purposefully and logically. Now, I'd like to talk to you about 3 ways that can help you. There are 3 ways we can help you. See how you can sequence. Clearly tell them, I would like to tell you 2 things or 3 ways. Then you have to say first, second, third. So clearly sequence your speaking. That gives it beauty. Signposting changes in topic. Make topic changes very clear. When you change one, for example, you are moving from definition to symptoms or symptoms to medication, really signpost it. Make topic changes very clear, saying that having understood the symptoms, let's find out what are the medication part of it. So make it very clear. Even in the listening, you can see the same expressions being used, same sequencing being used in the audio that you listen to. Nurse, now that we have discussed the possible side effects, I next like to talk about what is next. Okay? Now you can speak about it. So now, next, organizing your explanations, one more example. So just to recap what we have discussed, we talked about X, give a pause. And it's really important to remember that Y, the second thing, give a pause, and Z, the third thing. So even when you recap, you can use the same sequence. Providing 4th stage is providing reassurance and
education. Patient, I have heard people can die from strokes. Whether will I have another stroke in the future and whether could I die? No worries. The rate of having a recurrent stroke is very low and now you are taking warfarin to prevent another stroke. The drug is effective. Many people with a stroke have taken the medication. Most of them do not have a recurrent stroke, but remember, having regular blood test is very important. Is the key to prevent a further stroke. They will monitor you closely in the future.
So, it is a reassurance. How beautifully given, no? Every sentence in this paragraph or in this conversation reassures the patient and at the same time educates about the various aspects. And ending the interview.
Here is the bell. Please do not hesitate to give a buzz if you need me. Remember, we are always here for help. We'll see you later.
Okay, so here is the bell, again, I will be giving you some more options, but normally we say buzz the bell. No? It's not ringing the bell, it's entirely different where you publicly do it, in the church bells and all those things. So another option is that you can ask before concluding, you can ask, is there anything else you would like to ask or discuss? Patient says, tick, yes or no. Okay, then you say, no, I leave you. To have a rest, here is the bell. If you need to me, please do not hesitate to give me a buzz. Remember, We are always here for help. See you later.
Always.
That's a way in ending the interview. So just we'll skim through the key skills. What are the key skills? Understand the task words. These are the normal task words given. The maximum task words they use: accept, acknowledge, advise, agree, answer, ask, check, compliment, concern, express or conclude, convince, describe, emphasize, empathize, encourage, explain, express, find out, firmly explain, greet, inform, instruct, introduce, persuade, point out, reassure, recommend, refer, refuse, respond, stress, suggest, summarize, support you, tell. All those things are the task words, but all these may not be used. Usually, 3 or 4 will be used. So understand the task response is the second step. First, you should know what are the task words, what is the meaning of task words, understand the task words, then understand the task response. For example, if there is whining in the sense complaining, whining, you have to explain the reasons. Somebody is whining, complaining about something, then you have to explain the reasons. That could be the response. Expressing fear, you have to reassure the patient of the safety when there is a fear expressed by the patient. Ask the patient about his or her general health. When you ask them about the general health, then you are supposed to explain about the condition, as I told you in the 7 steps. The disease or the condition has to be explained. Display or express anxiety. Task is when the patient displays or expresses anxiety, you have to reassure the patient, ensure all the patient's concerned, make sure that all the concerns are dealt with. And if the patient is arrogant or angry, you have to use the skill of agree to disagree. Empathize with the patients, apologize with the patients, never give excuses. Agree to disagree, empathize, and apologize. I'll tell you what all these things. Educate means you have to sequence and structure. As I told you, 7 structure: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to speak about the disease condition, then you have to symptoms, then if there are side effects, then you can go on to the medication, monitoring, all those things. That's how you educate. Understanding the task response. Third skill is facilitating the patient's narrative. Minimum interruption. When they are speaking, when the patient is speaking, you minimize your interruption. Facilitate the patient's narrative. For example, patient says, tick, tick, tick. What you can say? I see. That's the maximum you can interpret. In the sense, encourage them. Then patient again says, tick, 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 something. Then you say, aha. Like you can give a response that way. But then minimize the interruption. Don't interrupt as much as possible. Initially, use of open questions, I told you, followed by closed questions. Always use the open questions first. For example, see, nurse, tell me about your medication use. Tell me about your medication use is the open-ended question. Nurse, what do you know about strokes? Okay, that's the open. Patient says, tick, tick, whatever they know. Otherwise, as in this case, a patient might say, I know little about it. Nurse, so you are over-medicating, right? Okay, then you can go to the closed-ended questions. First, you should start with open-ended questions, then to the closed-ended questions if required. Then the 5th skill is don't use compound or leading questions. Never ever use 2 questions together. Avoid compound questions, you will be penalized. If at all you ask compound questions, definitely you will be penalized. And always try to understand in OET as well as many other competitive exams, you have things which are right and correct. Definitely always correct answers are okay. And sometimes right answers are okay. They may not be penalized. But then here, compound questions will be definitely penalized. See, so you are worried about taking too much medication and the possible side effects. See, medication and side effects, 2 things you are combining together. You should avoid such expressions. Sentences joined together by fanboys. You know what are fanboys? Or those conjunction words. Sentences joined by conjunction words, questions are not allowed. It will be penalized. Must not use compound questions. 6th one is clarifying vague statements. Your skill. 6th skill required is clarifying information that is unclear to you. Don't keep quiet. If you have not understood properly, you have to clarify because you have to summarize it later. Then you will find it hard if you have not understood the main point from the patient. So nurse can say, sorry, I missed what you said there about nervousness. Could you please repeat that? And 7th one is, these are simple things. That's why I'm not taking too much time on this. Summarizing information to encourage connection and invite further information. Even when you are summarizing the information, if a patient wants to interfere, give chance to interfere and give further information. That will be assessed as well. So the nurse can say, okay, so far as I understand, you X, Y, and Z. Right? From the very beginning, you can follow this sequence, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you will, even summarizing, you will use that. Then sympathizing. Can somebody read this?
Yes, Father. I see, I understand what you thought about. I am sorry to hear that. However, I feel worried. I have got a urinary infection.
Yeah, that's the
No
patient
worries.
version. Yeah.
No worries. Urinary tract infection is a common complication after the surgery. I'm sorry to hear about that. What have you done?
This is how you sympathize. These are the expressions you can use to, yeah, you can continue. Some more sympathy expressions. Yes.
Patient, I am worried about my husband. Nurse, I see. I understand. No worries. I will give you some help. For example, Meals on Wheels. Nurse, I see. I understand why you are feeling this way. But to my best knowledge, these are. I see. Most people in your same situation feel the same way.
Yeah. These are the ways how you can sympathize. Some of the expressions to express your, show your sympathy. Empathizing. Again, one more expression. I can imagine that this is very difficult for you. That's also a statement where you empathize with the patient. Asking questions is the 9th skill. You should know the question format, syntax, and ask correct questions. 10th one is revealing sad news. Now many have asked me how to reveal it. Okay, this could be the expression. Could somebody read it? Yeah. Continue, please.
Revealing sad news. Did your doctor tell you about your diagnosis? It is colon cancer. I'm sorry about that. I would like to know how you feel about the last 6 months.
11th one is advising. It would be a good idea to keep your leg elevated when you are resting. Give advice about diet and lifestyle. Patient says, I like fast food. So nurse will have to say, I see, you need a healthy diet. You need to eat more vegetables, fruits, and less meat. Giving advice. And the 12th one is being respectful. So would you mind if I ask you some questions? So be respectful, ask their permissions. And 30th one is giving suggestions. Besides, I suggest you to give up smoking and drinking because then you have to explain why. So giving suggestions. And confirming understanding. You have to make sure you have understood, the patient has understood what you said. So you can say, okay, so you said that you have had the leg ulcer for 3 weeks, right? You did not understand properly or you had it out. How long you are suffering from this particular condition. You can ask them again and confirm your understanding. Then ending the conversation. Do you have any question? Oh, thanks. Here is the bell. Please do not hesitate to give a buzz if you need me. All those things we have seen. So this is the basic idea. What I wanted to stress here is the most important aspect of role play card is to know how to scan the card. Then the second most important thing is to structure your response. And if you go step by step as per the task given in the explanation as well as the task given in the role play card, you have no issues, no confusions. And there are certain people asking me, what happens if the things go out of the track? And that's one thing that you should know. You should know how to handle when it goes out of the track. Maybe I think I can just show you one. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
The basic skills required: introducing yourself and opening the conversation, asking open questions to encourage patients to speak, taking turns in conversation so that you speak as much as possible. Your purpose should be to speak as much as possible, not to make the patient speak, okay? Because your speaking is being assessed. Summarizing what you have said or what the patient says. So summarizing both your whole thing, what you have given, information giving, and the information gathering, both you have to summarize. Encouraging the patient to change or try something. Empathizing in difficult situations or aggressive situations. See how to handle difficult patients if you want a little more, because many have asked me. So be prepared for the patient or caregiver to be uncooperative, rude, or sometimes aggressive. Such cases, usually one will be their normal role play card, the other one will have some sort of this aspect where they will challenge you. So the skill is to be used is agree to disagree. Means you have to address the issue, but at the same time, you have to get the role play back on track. That's your skill. See, when they are not cooperating with you, when they are aggressive, when they don't want to follow your instructions, you can't just neglect them. You can't just scold them. You have to address their issue, but as early as possible, you have to take the role play back on track. That's a skill being assessed here. Managing difficult patients, understand why. The reason, you have to understand the reason first. So uncooperative patients may say things like, no, I don't want to do that. I haven't got time for that. Or it's okay for you. You know what what you are doing. I don't have a clue what you want me to do. Hence, I don't understand what you say. So these are the expressions they may use. They can use any expression. The reason for these expressions or non-cooperation or aggression is that fear of what is going to happen. They are afraid of what is going to happen, feeling isolated or left out of decisions. They don't know what are the things going on, what these doctors, nurses, and my relatives are conspiring against me and deciding by themselves. And drug and alcohol or mental health related issues usually don't have the role plays. Normally you may not have, but usually these are the two reasons in the majority of the role plays. So specimen situations, maybe let's take one or two situations. See, caregiver angry about what she sees as poor care for her mother. We have been going to explain a change in dressings for her mother, but we are interrupted. You are interrupted because the caregiver is so angry that his mother or her mother is not getting the proper care. First has to empathize. First thing is empathize. I can see that this has upset you a lot. Try to bring it back. Once you empathize and respond to their concern, then only you have to bring it back to the track. Bring back. So then you have to say them, I was going to explain about the new dressings your mother is starting on tomorrow. Would you like to talk about your concerns about her care first? Means, would you like to speak more about your problems now or your concerns? No? That way you can address them. The second situation, specimen situation could be patient's relative in the ward, angry because patient says she hasn't been offered any pain relief that day. Relative says she can never find a nurse to talk to and has just walked up to you in the corridor. So what could be the response? First, you have to apologize without making excuses. Never ever make excuses. First, apologize. I'm sorry that you have had trouble finding a nurse to talk to. I can talk to you now if you like. Open questions to find out about the issue. Okay, can you tell me more about what's happening? Ask them open questions. Let them express. Yes, other situations could be something like mother and child angry because other people have been seen before her child. Her child has a minor injury, but a patient with a severe injury after a car accident has just been brought in. All those things, she is waiting and she is really irritated. Or caregiver is in a nursing home says belongings have been stolen and all those things. Those could be the situations. Yeah. Now 3 minutes preparations. During the 3 minutes time preparation, what you have to do? Underline or circle important words such as the adjectives which tell you how the patient is feeling. Most of the adjectives will spell you how the patient is feeling. Underline or circle the task words. Now you know what are the task words like reassure, empathize, or explain, ask, all those things. So prepare a structure, sequence of the interview. Immediately you prepare a structure from the role play card. As you circle it, you will find a structure or sequence over there as I showed you in the specimens. Write the question stems you want to ask. The basic stems, what questions you want to ask, you can just write the question stems in store on the role play card or the provided paper. Usually you are allowed to write on the role play card. Is there anything that you want to visit again? Again, I tell you, don't be under the illusion of competency, especially for those who are going for exams. Even you can try if you haven't tried. The best approach is try to scan the role play cards clearly. Even if you have done it earlier without scanning it and without organizing it, sequencing it, do it again. And just have a clarity in your mind. That clarity builds up confidence. So it's not the, again, I repeat, it's not the number of practices you do or the amount of quantity of practice you have done, but the quality of practice. So do a little practice, but consistently, a little every day.